Elimination Game 3 here from Crusher Stadium in Avon as the Miami RedHawks, following the loss yesterday afternoon to the top-seeded Bowling Green Falcons, will now play with their season on the line this morning. The RedHawks swept Toledo earlier this year. The Rockets will look to avenge that. They won their first elimination game yesterday after dropping their MAC tournament opener back on Wednesday afternoon. The Rockets will try to make their way through the losers bracket to play for their season once again, coming up later this afternoon at 2 o'clock. Luke Poley with you here on Red Hawk Radio. So glad you could join us. Miami and Toledo meeting for the fourth time this season. Good news for the RedHawks following the loss yesterday is that this Toledo team has been good to the Miami RedHawks. They swept them earlier this year in what was kind of a season-defining series for Miami. They'd been a little bit up and down to that point in conference play. They had won a couple conference series against the likes of Central Michigan, Northern Illinois, and Akron at the time, but they had also suffered series losses to Ball State and sweeps to Western Michigan and Bowling Green. They went on the road to take on a Toledo team that was one of the better teams the Redhawks had seen so far, outside of really those top two in BG and Western Michigan. Redhawks swept Toledo 13-0 on Friday, 4-3 in extra innings on Saturday, and then a dominant 10-2 win to wrap up the weekend on Sunday. That would start a conference win streak for the Redhawks and continue upon a win streak for Miami, in which they went nearly 3 weeks without dropping a game. The win streak would come to an end on May 4th against Kent State after the Redhawks swept 2 series in a row, defeating Toledo for all 3 and then Eastern Michigan the following 3 games as part of an 8-game win streak the Redhawks had in mid-season. Yesterday, Miami fell 12-4 to the top-seeded Bowling Green Falcons, and it was some of the worst fears realized for the Redhawks. Pitching depth and strike throwing has been an issue for this staff this season, and after Miami put out 3 of their best arms in the MAC tournament opener and the win over Kent State, the Redhawks had to turn to some faces in their bullpen that had struggled throughout this season, and the Redhawks gave up 12 runs to the top offense in the league, including 10 of them across 3 innings from the 6th through the 8th against the Falcons team that was regular season champions by a pretty significant margin in the MAC, being 5 games clear of second place Western Michigan. Final score yesterday was 12-4. Redhawks with 4 runs off 8 hits, 1 error, and 12 left on base. Bowling Green 12 runs off 10 hits, 1 error, and 8 left on base. Nick Good was the winning pitcher for the Falcons. Miami controlled the game a little bit early on. The Redhawks were up 1-0 after 3 innings, and Nick DeMonica, who was one of those pitchers that had struggled to throw strikes throughout the season, probably had his best outing of the year as he threw 3 1/3, giving up just 1 hit, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout, as well as only 1 run that came across after he came out of the game. After 3 innings, he had faced the minimum, only giving up 1 base runner against the Falcons, that was immediately wiped away by a double play. And DeMonica was excellent. Unfortunately, the bullpen unraveled a little bit for Miami. Patrick Mastrian, who was the losing pitcher in the game for the Redhawks, went an inning and 2/3, immediately relieving DeMonica, giving up 3 hits, 2 walks, no strikeouts, and 5 runs. Miami, when all was said and done, would throw 6 guys out there: DeMonica, Mastrian, Connor Preissel, Nolan Hollis, Ahmad Harajli, and Ryan Zimmer. Only pitcher to not give up any runs was Harajli, who did put a couple of runners on in his 2/3 of an inning of work, but got out of it scoreless. Once again, final score yesterday was 12-4. So what does that mean? The Redhawks will play for their season today. Double elimination bracket with 6 teams. There are 5 teams left after Kent State was sent packing by these Toledo Rockets yesterday in the first elimination game of the tournament. Rockets were coming off more rest than that Kent State team was after they played a game on opening day of the tournament against these Miami RedHawks that lasted until past 11:30 local time due to a late start and some weather delays. And Toledo took full advantage, a dominant win yesterday in the 10 a.m. game, and they are back playing at 10 a.m. again here this morning as they look to make their way through the losers bracket and win a second game after dropping their opener against Ball State. Ball State will await the winner of this game, as the second game today will be another elimination game. The one-loss Cardinals awaiting at 2 o'clock to take on the team that comes out of this game and keeps their season going. Cardinals lost yesterday evening in the nightcap winners bracket game against Western Michigan. The top two seeds, who each got byes, each moved on through the winners bracket, and Bowling Green in Western Michigan will play the nightcap tonight with a chance to move into the title game that's on the line later this evening. We'll take a brief break here on the Red Hawk Radio pregame coming up at the top of the hour. We've got first pitch between the Redhawks and the Rockets, lineups, scoreboard, and more coming on the other side of the break. You're listening to Miami Baseball at the Mid-American Conference Tournament on Red Hawk Radio. Back here in Avon at Crusher Stadium, awaiting elimination game number 2 of the MAC tournament as the Miami RedHawks, number 4 seed, take on 6th seeded Toledo at the top of the hour. Luke West-Poley with you on Red Hawk Radio. Take a look at some of the local scores yesterday. A couple seasons came to an end in the local area. All the local Cincinnati area teams did make their conference tournaments, but a couple of seasons were ended for the first time yesterday. Dayton fell to George Washington. Their season is over, and Cincinnati had their season likely ended. Bearcats, by most projections, are in the first 4 out of the NCAA tournament according to projections, and their season is likely over following a loss to Texas Tech last night. Today, two local teams in action against each other in the Horizon League tournament as Wright State, regular season champions of the Horizon, take on Northern Kentucky in Game 7 of that tournament. Once again, an 11 a.m. start between those two teams. And Xavier, who played a thrilling game against St. John's last night in the Big East tournament, gave up a 2-run go-ahead home run at the bottom of the 8th inning yesterday. The Musketeers fell to the Red Storm, and so they will play an elimination game and will likely play for their season as they failed to get a win to bolster their at-large resume last night. 4 o'clock start between the Musketeers and the Georgetown Hoyas back in Mason at Prasco Park. Here in our game, Miami and Toledo all set to go. Now let's take a look at our starting lineups for each of these two teams as the Rockets and the RedHawks meet for the 4th time this season. RedHawks previously winners of all 3. Toledo, this is game number 58 for Rob Reinstedt's crew. They carry a record of 26 wins, 31 losses, finished 8 games back in the MAC with a record of 16-14 in conference and a 1-1 record so far in the MAC tournament. They are currently 1-1 on neutral sites this season. They were solid at home at 11-8 this year, 14-22 on the road this season, and they have a starting lineup that has some pretty powerful offense and includes a lot of left-handed bats as the RedHawks elected to play the matchups, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. We'll take a brief pause for the national anthem, give you the Toledo lineup coming up next here on Red Hawk Radio. Back here in Avon, awaiting the start of Miami and Toledo in elimination game number 2 here in the MAC tournament. Once again, starting lineup here for the Rockets. Give it to you right now under head coach Rob Reinstedtl. Caden Konzak, left-handed bat, hits first in right field. Garrett Pike follows behind. He is a draft-eligible player for this upcoming summer. Got to keep an eye on in center field. Luke Walton hits third. He's in left. Charlie Chauvin, the first righty in the lineup and one of just 2 right-handed bats in this 1 through 9 order for the Rockets. He plays at short and hits cleanup. Trey Wright is behind him, batting left and playing at third base. Owen Jackson is the DH. He hits 6th. J.P. Wagner hits 7th at first base. Scott Makowitz hits 8th at second. And Braden White, the other righty in the batting order, catches and bats 9th. On the bump, Jackson Bergman, the sophomore righty for Toledo. Strong season this year. Makes just his 7th start, but also 12 appearances out of the bullpen through 51 innings pitched, 16 walks, 49 strikeouts, and a 3.88 ERA with a 3-6 win-loss record. Now for the Miami RedHawks. Under first-year head coach Brian Smiley, a win would secure the RedHawks' first winning season since 2019. The RedHawks are 27 up, 26 down this season after picking up a win in the MAC tournament opener and dropping a game yesterday afternoon. Miami will play for their season today. RedHawks 2-1 on neutral fields this year and finished 7 games back in the MAC of the league-leading Bowling Green Falcons with a conference record of 17-13. Pretty similar batting order. This is the order that Coach went with in the opener. A little bit of shuffling in terms of the batting lineup, but the same 9 guys in the MAC tournament opener that the RedHawks won. Dylan Baker leads off in his usual spot, and he plays at short. Zach McDonald hits second in center field. Ty Bodicic bats third in designated hits this morning. Evan Applewick is at first base. He bats cleanup. David Novak catches and hits 5th. Justin Gorski, the freshman, back into the starting lineup. Started the opener, came off the bench yesterday as a late pinch hitter as Brian Smiley emptied his bench and he plays in left field. Rylan Zaborowski bats 7th. He's at third base. Ryan Novak hits 8th. The freshman is in right field, and Tyler Gordon in the usual second leadoff at second base. Getting the ball for the RedHawks, making his 13th start of the season, is the sophomore, the soft-tossing lefty Nick Vardavis. Will take over for Miami. 59 innings pitched in the regular season. This is his MAC tournament debut. 32 walks to 41 strikeouts on the season for Vardavis. And the southpaw in the battery with David Novak this morning, as he will try to hold off this Toledo lineup that hit a couple of home runs yesterday in their win in the elimination game against Kent State. And really a dominant performance from the Rockets from start to finish. Miami yesterday struggled at the plate, and as the game went along, struggled in the field as well. Fortunate thing for the RedHawks, they were able to get everybody in. Every single healthy bat that has seen legitimate time this season got a chance to enter the game and at least record one plate appearance. And so that was kind of the one fortunate thing to take out of what was an otherwise difficult game to swallow for the RedHawks yesterday. They'll look to rebound and will have to rebound if they want their season to continue into this afternoon. Miami will serve as the home team for this game. Toledo, the road team. RedHawks are in the white uniforms with the red stripes. Script red Miami on the front with the red numbers on the front and back. The usual red caps with the white script M. And the white pants with the red stripe down the side. For Toledo, they go with the powder blue uniforms that read Toledo on the front in blue text, blue numbers with yellow accents around the side, and dark blue numbers on the back as well. The blue caps with the yellow bills and the yellow T on the front, and the white pants on the bottom. Caden Konzak bats first for the Rockets. The junior, batting .278, makes his 49th start. The Rockets have played the most games of any team in this tournament, 58th game of the season today. First pitch coming in is swung on and missed for strike one. 10:02 a.m., our start time this morning. So glad that you're with us here from Avon and Crusher Stadium. Luke West Poley with you as Miami and Toledo meet up in the second elimination game of this MAC tournament. 0-1 on Konzak, and that drops down low, ball and a strike. Caden Konzak in right field, once again part of a very lefty-heavy lineup for Rob Reinstedel. 7 left-handed bats here today. 1-1, and that bounces in from Vardavis, 2 balls and a strike. Miami starters have been strong in both games of this tournament. Peyton Olenek got the start and the win in Game 1 for the RedHawks. 2-1 on Konzak, kick pitch. And a strike falls in there at our corner of the zone. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yesterday, Nick DeMonica threw probably his best 3 1/3 of the season, gave up just 1 run that came across after he was pulled from the game. But through 3 innings, had faced the minimum and had given up just 1 base runner. 2-2 on Konzak. Swings and hops one over towards first, coming around it. It's off the glove of Applewick. Flips over to Vardavis, but he actually lost it out of his glove trying to flip it, and there's no play. Applewick tried to scoop that after it hit off of his glove. It was going to be a tough play anyway because of where it was hit to the left of the bag, as Applewick had to make the decision to either go there himself or toss to Vardavis. Either way, it may not have got Konzak anyway, but he did try to just grab that off the turf and flip it to first all in one motion and just kind of miss the ball. So we'll check the scorer's decision on that, and it is an infield single for Caden Konzak. And a runner is aboard for Toledo to begin the game. Garrett Pike now at the plate. Another left-handed swinger. First pitch to him is taken away for ball 1. Pike batting .357, leads the team in average for the Rockets, and he is the only player that has started every game for Toledo this season, leading the charge in home runs as well. 1-0. Swings and twirls one back. 1 ball, 1 strike. 21 home runs, 8 doubles and a triple on the season for Pike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Vardavis from the stretch throws. And a fastball way high as Novak springs up to snag it. 2-1. Wind is kind of swirling. In game one for the RedHawks, it pushed straight out from home to center field with some pretty good strength. And yesterday it was the opposite, from center in towards home. 2-1. Konzak hopping around. Small lead though, and pitch. Swing and a miss. Maybe a piece of that from Garrett Pike, but definitely not too much of it as he cuts through a pitch over the plate, and it's 2-2. Vardavis working from the middle of the rubber. 2-2 offering. Grounded up the middle, and that'll squeak through for a base hit. Konzak takes the turn at second, but will return to the bag with McDonald getting to that quickly, and Garrett Pike goes right up the middle, threaded the needle between Miami's middle infield, who was already pinched in double play depth, just barely squeaks that through into center, and two singles. First and second, nobody out for the Rockets in the top of the first inning. Luke Walton will be the batter, the left fielder for the Rockets, batting .304, making his 50th appearance of the season here today. First pitch in, and strike one called. This is his redshirt freshman season. He's from Sandusky, Ohio, kind of in between Toledo and where we are right now in the greater Cleveland area. 0-1 pitch. Bounces in the other box. 1 ball, 1 strike. Product of Perkins High School, 3-time all-conference selection, was on the roster last year, but it was a redshirt season, did not see any game action. 1-1 on Walton, left on left, first and second, nobody out in a scoreless game, top of the first. Vardavis kicks and deals. Swing and a miss. Vardavis has had some swing and miss stuff today, as he typically has throughout the season. He's just kind of got paper cut to get him into this mini jam, first and second, nobody out. Toledo looking to open the scoring. Ball and 2 strikes. Vardavis looks back at second, now home. The pitch. Fastball spiked. It's blocked by Novak, and it's 2-2. Vardavis from just up the road from here in Greater Canton. About an hour from where we are now, hour 15. 2-2 on Walton. Fastball just above the zone, 3-2. Two of the best base runners aboard for Toledo right now. Caden Konzak, 9 for 9. Garrett Pike has stolen 13 bags this season. Then the 3-2, they're not running, and he fouls it over to the right side. It was a somewhat quick turnaround. Toledo had a little more rest than Miami did after they played the 10 a.m. game yesterday that got wrapped up just past noon. Now playing at 10 a.m. again today. 3-2 on Walton. And he fouls it up in the air and into the grandstand, and it will remain a full count. RedHawks, though, fortunate that didn't really have to do the same thing Kent State did, which was play 2 games in the span of about 11 hours. RedHawks, though, will, if they win this game, have to play immediately following it against Ball State. So would Toledo. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Walton. Here's the offering, and it bounces in, ball 4. Walton fires up the dugout, flips his bat towards the right side. Toledo's got the bases loaded, nobody out in the top of the first inning. And that will bring up Charlie Chauvin. The favorable matchup here, the first righty to come to the plate for the Rockets, and it comes with the bases loaded, nobody out. David Novak is out to the mound to talk to Nick Vardavis. And in truth, a little bit of a tough start for Vardavis, but hasn't really pitched poorly. Gave up an infield single, gave up a ground ball single that, had it been a couple feet to the left or right, could have been a double play. Did issue the walk to Walton, but Walton made him work for it, fouling off a couple pitches on 2 strikes to earn the base on balls. So Toledo threatening here in the first. Bases loaded, nobody out. Rocket half of the inning in the top. as they look to open the scoring in elimination game number 2. Charlie Chauvin, the shortstop, working from the back of the righty box. Tall upright stance. First pitch. He swings and loops one, sinking into left field. That's down for a base hit. 1 run will come in. Here comes the second as Pike will score, and a 2 RBI single gets things started for the Rockets. Charlie Chauvin delivers. Walton up to second, still first and second, nobody out now for Trey Wright, and Toledo takes a 2-0 lead. Chauvin with the lowest RBI tally of anybody in this lineup for the Rockets. Has started all of his appearances, 34 this year. But has missed some time, and that's a big swing for UT, up 2-0. First pitch to Trey Wright. He kind of half shows bunt, but never really offered as the pitch flies outside. And now Larry Scully calls time, and he's out to the mound, and now we're going to see some work beginning in the Miami bullpen as well. Luke Ross is out there for the RedHawks. He has not started throwing just yet, but is standing on the mound. It looks like waiting to get ready for his bullpen catcher, and now he has begun throwing from 3/4 of the way to the mound as Larry Scully continues to chat with Nick Varnavas. Varnavas in his sophomore season with Miami, and one thing that has been kind of the issue, different from a lot of Miami pitchers, is that he hasn't necessarily struggled with a ton of walks. It's pretty routine on this Miami staff to see pitchers giving up about a walk per inning. Varnavas is about half that as the mound visit is over, and Varnavas will step back up to face Trey Wright at 1-0. First and second, nobody out in the top of the first. Toledo leads 2-0. Varnavas throws the second pitch. And a strike in there. Another half bunt by Trey Wright. Just kind of held the bat with his hand on the barrel next to his shoulder. 1-1. Infield halfway in for the RedHawks. 1-1. That bounces in, smothered by Novak. 2 balls and a strike. But for Varnavas this season, despite the lack of walks, opponents hitting .328 against him this year. And that .328 average against is the highest among qualified pitchers on staff. 2-1. Check swing, and he went around as they appealed to third. Michael Schultz, the third base umpire, says that Wright offered. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Michael Wiseman behind the plate today, calling balls and strikes. Stephen Linton at first. Sal Giacomo-Antonio is at second. 2-2 on Trey Wright. And the pitch. Fastball up at the shoulders. 3-2. Varnavas hasn't gotten hit around for a ton of power this year, just 4 home runs allowed in 59 innings. Just a lot of soft contact against him that has found its way through for hits. 3 balls, 2 strikes, the payoff. Slides just inside, ball 4. And that'll reload the bases with nobody out for the Rockets in the top of the first. So bases still loaded, and now Owen Jackson will come up to the plate, the senior. 15 home runs on the year. Places him second on the team. First pitch to him. Bounces in the dirt for ball 1. 2-0 Rockets, top half of the first inning. Miami still has not recorded an out with the bases loaded. 3 singles, 2 walks thus far for the Rockets. 1-0 on 0 and pitch. Looping breaking ball falls in for strike 1. Luke Ross, another lefty, now throwing from the full mound out on the third base side bullpen. Ball and a strike on Owen. Pitch is outside. 2 balls and a strike on Owen Jackson. Out of Kankakee, Illinois, and Kankakee Community College. The 2-1 pitch. Bounces in. It's picked again by Novak, and now Vardavis is at risk of walking in a run for the first time. Three balls, 1 strike. Vardavis set at the belt. And now the pitch. Swing and a miss. Jackson took a fence swing at that one. Was a challenge pitch over the plate, and the count is full. Jackson on the year hitting .249. Just 4 doubles, a triple, and 15 homers. Payoff pitch. Swing and a pop-up. This is actually going to carry out towards center field as McDonald is camped underneath it. Awaiting, makes the catch. Runner tags from third to home. It's a bluff from Chauvin from second to third. He'll return. The throw's cut off. Walton scores. And it's a sac fly for Owen Jackson as Toledo makes it 3-0. But Miami does finally get the first out in the top of the first inning. And now Larry Scully is coming out of the Miami dugout, and that's going to be it for Nick Vardavis. Tough start for Nick Vardavis as he just gave up a couple unfortunate hits early on, and then things just started to unravel for the lefty. Another lefty will come in for the RedHawks as Luke Ross will take over in relief on damage control mode for Miami in the top of the first. We'll step aside here from Avon. It's 3-0 Toledo, first and second, 1 out in the top half of inning number 1. You're listening to Miami Baseball at the Mid-American Conference Tournament on Red Hawk Radio. Luke Ross, the Wisconsinite sophomore, takes over in relief of Nick Vardavis. Top half of the first inning for Miami. Vardavis just recorded his first and only out, but allowed 3 runs, and it's 3-0 Rockets. First and second, 1 out for J.P. Wagner. First pitch to him drops down low for ball 1. Wagner batting out of the 7 hole. Toledo with 3 hits, all singles, and 2 walks, as well as a sac fly off Nick Vardavis, the Miami starter. 1-0 on Wagner, and the pitch. Fastball strike over the heart of the plate. 1-1 on JP. Freshman batting .274. Native of Toledo, Ohio. 1-1. And he takes a fastball up and away. 2 balls and a strike. Product of St. John's Jesuit High School, former Titan. One and 0 the count. Check that. 2-1 the count. As the pitch comes in and it's swung on and missed. 2-2. Somewhat lighter crowd for this morning game than what we saw yesterday in the RedHawks game against Bowling Green, as the Falcon fans traveled very well. 2-2 on Wagner. Here comes. Lifted up left side, carrying into the shallow outfield and left. Baker is back on it from short. Infield fly is called as he puts it away with the left hand. 2 men down in the inning as Luke Ross gets the first man retired. Neither runner can move. It's still first and second. 3-0 Rockets. Scott Makowitz now coming to the plate. Makowitz, senior, hitting .253, left on left. Sees a first offering and holds off on the breaking ball, 1-0. Mac All Tournament team selection back in 2022. Ball and no strikes, and the pitch. Bounces through and gets to the backstop, and runners will move up from first and second, so now second and third as Makowitz is ahead 2-0 following the wild pitch. Makowitz so far 1 for 7 in this tournament, was 1 for 3 yesterday. After an 0 for 4 start, did score a run. 2-0. Ross fires. Spiked fastball up into the neck area of Miami catcher David Novak, but he knocks it down. 3 balls, no strikes. Here's the 3-0. Get him over strike for Ross. 3 balls, 1 strike now following the pitch over the plate. Makowitz did move his hands, but did not swing. Now the 3-1 coming in, and Makowitz bounces it foul towards his own dugout, 3-2. Second and third, 2 outs, 3 balls and 2 strikes on Scott Makowitz. Veteran left-handed bat for Toledo. Miami trying to keep it 3-0. Payoff. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Went upstairs with the fastball, and Makowitz fans it, and the side is retired in the top of the first. But Toledo does their damage. Rockets jump out to an early 3-0 lead. Miami comes to bat for the first time this morning when we return. It's 3-0 Toledo to the bottom half of the first. You're listening to Miami Baseball at the Mid-American Conference Tournament on Red Hawk Radio. Into the RedHawk first, it's 3-0 Toledo after 3 runs off 3 hits from the Rockets in the top half of the inning. They chased Miami starter Nick Varnavas out of the game after just a third of an inning. RedHawks will look to answer and will need to in this elimination game on this Friday morning. Dylan Baker will lead off against Jackson Bergman, and the first pitch is coming home. Baker takes a strike in the inner half, 0-1. Jackson Bergman this season, sophomore with a 3.88 ERA, 3-6 record, making his 7th start. He's also appeared 12 times out of the bullpen. 0-1. In there for a strike, 0-2. Baker yesterday for Miami was pinch hit for in the 9th by Blake Buzzio. Prior to that, 1 for 3 with a single and a hit by pitch. Down 0-2 and pitch. And he reaches and pokes one out into right center field. That's down for a base hit. Pike cuts it off in the gap, but Dylan Baker, just defending on 2 strikes, kind of looped that out into right center field. And a man aboard for the RedHawks. And even though Miami was pushed back on their heels a little bit in the top half of this inning, this is still very much within reach at just 3 runs. Zach McDonald will come in, and McDonald is looking for his 2nd hit of the tournament after getting his first yesterday. First pitch, in for a strike, 0-1. That came in his final at-bat after he had walked once but was 0 for 6 to start through the first game and a half. 0-1 on McDonald. And the pitch. Lifted out to the right side, and that will drop in for a bloop hit. Baker on his horse, he'll round second and dig for third. Throw will split the runners coming into second, and Baker into third safely. Zach McDonald with a single, and just like that, first 2 men aboard for the RedHawks in the bottom half of the first inning, and now the tying run is coming to the plate. So good start for the RedHawks, and this is what Brian Smiley called heading into this tournament when we talked to him on Monday. Ty Bonisic will be the batter for the RedHawks. Toledo has got the third base in from right. He is coming onto the grass. First pitch to Bonisic is in for a strike. Bonisic, don't think will bunt here as it's 0-1. But Coach Smiley said, you know, every MAC team has got their 2 games worth of pitching, and once you get to game 3 of the tournament, that's when the offense really needs to start to take over for both sides. 0-1, runner bluffs at first, and Bonisic flies it foul on the left side, 0-2. Both sides proving that is the case as Toledo scored 3 in the top half of the first, and Miami is threatening with runners on the corners and nobody out in the bottom half. 0-2 on Ty Bonisic. Runner goes from first. The pitch is down in the dirt, and White couldn't squeeze it. It bounces off his glove and drops onto the plate, so McDonald moves into scoring position with his team-leading 15th stolen base of the year. 15 for 17 now on the season. 1-2 on Bonisic, and he lines it over towards the mound. It one-hopped up on Bergman. He fields it, looks the runner back from third, and will throw out Bonisic for the first out. Softly hit by Bonisic, misread it off the bat. It actually bounced right in front of the plate, and so when it was snagged out of the air by Bergman, it was a one-hop, not a line drive, and that's why I had to go to first with it. Regardless, it is an out and no runners can advance for the RedHawks. Second and third now for Evan Applewick, who has been the do-it-all guy for Miami through the first couple games, hitting 2 home runs. First pitch into Applewick, and he takes under the zone, 1-0. Applewick has homered twice, and both came in his first at-bat of the game. 1-0 on Applewick, the pitch. He swings and misses over the breaking ball, 1-1. Yesterday hit a solo shot to lead off the second inning, gave Miami a 1-0 lead. 2-run shot in the first inning on Wednesday. Also has been Miami's probably top defender this week. 1-1, that is lined over towards second. It's off the glove of Makowitz, trickling into right. He fakes a couple of throws as Baker will trot home, and he's got no play. McDonald stays on second, but Baker with the heads-up base running to take home. It will likely be an error as that line drive was hit right at Scott Makowitz, hit off his glove. He couldn't come down with it as he made kind of a mini jump up towards the ball, and it drops in. So on to first goes Applewick, and Baker comes in to score. 3-1 now our score, first and second, 1 out. And David Novak will be the batter. First pitch to Novak, and he takes a breaker low, 1-0. So things continue to happen when Evan Applewick is at the plate. They actually are going to score that a single for Applewick, so that'll help out the average. 1-0 is pumped foul by Novak. 1 ball, 1 strike. Thought that might be ill-advised for Baker to go from third to home because by the time he decided to run, Makowitz had already picked the ball up and was kind of on the edge of the infield dirt to the right of second. 1-1 to Novak. Swings and fouls it to the backstop, 1-2. But Makowitz, I'm not sure if he just elected to not make the throw or if he wasn't aware that Baker was running until it was too late because he just kind of pumped towards second base where McDonald was, who was standing firmly on the bag, then pumped towards home and just ate the ball up. Step off, and now McDonald was running, and he's hung up in a rundown. McDonald running towards second, diving back towards the bag, and he is tagged out. And a sneaky pickoff from Bergman caught McDonald leaning towards third base. Not even sure there if McDonald wanted to run. He kind of just stumbled when Bergman disengaged with the rubber. It wasn't a pickoff directly towards second base as much as he just stepped off and looked over at McDonald, who tripped and fell. Meanwhile, 1-2 on Novak. He lifts it up right side, slicing in the infield, but it will get out of play. So that wipes the runner out of scoring position for the RedHawks. Now a man on first with 2 down in the bottom of the first. Miami trails 3-1. Just the 3rd time all year that McDonald has been caught on the base paths. 1-2 to Novak. Checks his swing as the bender misses outside. Appeal over to first, and he did not offer. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Novak. Caught every game of this tournament for Miami. 2 for 5 yesterday. Singles in his first and last at-bats. 2-2 pitch. And Novak golfs it in the air out towards straightaway center field. Pike not even moving and makes a 2-handed grab for the final out. So disappointing end to that inning with Zach McDonald being picked off at second base. And the RedHawks now trail 3-1, but Miami does dig into the lead a bit as Luke Ross will try to stabilize for the RedHawks into the 2nd inning. After 1 here from Avon, it's Rockets 3, RedHawks 1. You're listening to Miami Baseball at the Mid-American Conference Tournament on Red Hawk Radio. Top 2 from Crusher Stadium. Rockets will look to add to a 3-1 lead after an eventful offensive first inning. Miami, though, had their efforts spoiled after Zach McDonald was picked off at second base. Had first and second with 1 out, and that really kind of killed the momentum of the inning that the RedHawks were building as the Rockets keep the lead. Luke Ross, who came on in relief after just a third of an inning in the first, will come back on after recording the last 2 outs of the first inning without allowing any more runs. Braden White is at the plate for the Rockets, and the first pitch to him flies over the plate for strike 1. White, the only Rocket that didn't hit in the first inning, batting out of the 9 hole, one of the 2 righties in the order. 0-1. Skies up high. 1 ball, 1 strike. 52nd start of the year for White. Rockets team that's had good luck with not getting games canceled this season. 1-1 pitch coming in. And he burns it on the ground. It's a fair ball past the third base bag off the glove of Zaborowski, who knocks it towards the Miami bullpen and will scoop it up. But obviously no play going that far into foul territory as White grounded that right along the chalk. It just missed the third base bag but was in fair territory, wrapped around it, and Zaborowski would have had to make a tough play even if he came up with that, which he did not. 4th hit of the day, all singles for the Rockets. And now, back to the top of the order for the second time. Caden Konzak is 1 for 1. Left on left. Ross looking over at the runner on first, now deals. Slider outside, 1-0. Konzak got things started with an infield single. Wasn't necessarily a bad start for Nick Vardavis. 1-0. He fouls it back, 1-1. Just in terms of how he was pitching, gave up an infield hit to Konzak on a hopper to first base. And then Garrett Pike hit a ball on the ground towards the middle infield, which, depending on infield positioning, could have been a double play, but just had eyes and found its way through to center. 1-1. Downstairs, 2 balls and a strike. The following batter, Luke Walton, walked, but did so on a 3-2 count in which he fouled off 2 pitches on 2 strikes. And so it really didn't feel like Vardavis was pitching poorly at that point, despite the bases being loaded with nobody out in the first. 2-1 to Konzak. Hits it on the ground over towards second. Gordon up with it, goes to second for 1. The turn on by Baker to first, and plenty of time, double play. RedHawks were looking for that in the first. They have it here in the second, 4-6-3, and the bases are wiped clear with 2 down. That's just some of the luck that the RedHawks didn't have in that first inning, with a ball being grounded to the middle infield, and this time it found a glove. Bases clear, 2 down, top of the second inning with the Rockets up 3-1. Garrett Pike at the plate. Left on left, and the first offering coming in. Fastball outside for ball 1. Vardavis faced off against Charlie Shulvin, and that was really where the first strong piece of hitting from the Rockets came, as he hit a 2-run single to right field, and that was when things started to unravel. 1-0. Check swing. It squirts between the legs of Novak. Peel to third. And yes, he did. So Pike goes around, and the count evens at 1-1. Ball and a strike on Pike. Ross takes a breath. Now the pitch. Fouled straight back into the screen. A ball and 2 strikes. One and 2 on Pike with the bases empty. Ross trying to get out of the inning. He whips it home. And he spiked that one 10 feet in front of the plate for ball 2, and that caught David Novak pretty hard in the upper body. Novak keeled over right now behind home plate. Miami training staff, couple steps out of the dugout, came out of the left side, walked along the dugout fence, and then re-entered the dugout on the right side. So Novak is fine back there. And Pike will see another at 2-2. Novak, such a tough kid back there, with having the catching duties for nearly every game this season for the RedHawks. All but one game he started this year. 2-2 on Pike. And the pitch. And that bounces in for ball 3. That came for Novak now in his junior season after he split time with a really exciting, promising young freshman last year, Tommy Harrison. Those two kind of split DH and catcher duties, and Novak was the number 1, but would only start 2 games a weekend behind the dish usually. 3-2 on Pike, and pitch. Down low, ball 4, and that puts a man on with 2 outs as Pike walks. So a runner on first with 2 away in the top half of the second as the Rockets try to open up this 3-1 lead. Luke Walton will be the batter. Tommy Harrison is still with this team, but suffered a long-term injury that saw him miss this entire season. He has actually been Miami's first base coach this whole year. But the RedHawks are hoping that they can get him back for his second season of game action next year. First pitch to Luke Walton is down low for ball 1. Harrison was a really, really promising freshman out of St. Edward High School up here in the Cleveland area, nearby Lakewood. And got significant playing time as a freshman, 32 starts in 41 games total. It's both a DH and a catcher as Ross picks over to first base. Harrison at .239 in his freshman season with 8 doubles and 4 homers. 1-0. And a called strike. Got a pitch over the plate. 1-1. Now the 1-1 offering. Pushed out towards left field. Gorski coming around it, now coming in, adjusting to his right, and he makes the catch, shielding his eyes from the sun for the third out. So the double play, and Miami puts up a scoreless frame for the first time for either team. Comes in the top of the second. Headed to the home half, RedHawks chasing 2. They will bring up the middle bottom part of the order. Gorski, Zaborowski, and Ryan Novak due up for Miami when we return. Stay with us. You're listening to Miami Baseball at the Mid-American Conference Tournament on Red Hawk Radio. Bottom half of the second inning as the RedHawks come to bat for the second time. It is 3-1 Toledo here in this elimination game. Second elimination game of the MAC tournament. Justin Gorski up to the plate. And the first pitch from Jackson Bergman is in. And it sinks beneath the zone for ball 1. Gorski getting a second start of the tournament in 3 games. Has appeared in all 3. 1-0 pitch. And Gorski punches it foul behind the plate. Gorski got the start in game 1 and was 0 for 1 with a sac bunt and a walk. 1-1 on the freshman. Fouls it in the same spot, 1-2. Came on as a pinch hitter in the 8th yesterday for Garrison Murrill and walked in that 1 plate appearance. 1-2, right on left. Pitch. Just beneath the knees, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bergman working quickly, uncorks a 2-2. And Gorski bounces it over towards short. Chauvin will charge in and throw on to first in time to beat out Gorski for the first out. So now Rylan Zaborowski up to the plate. Zaborowski now moved a couple spots down to the order of the 7-hole after he was normally hitting 5th for the RedHawks first couple games of this tournament. Base is empty, 1 away in the bottom of the second. First offering. Zaborowski flies it out towards right center field. Pike slowly drifting to his left, now coming in further and further, and puts it away. Two outs in the bottom of the second inning. Nobody on for Ryan Novak as the RedHawks trail 3-1. RedHawks have gone with 2 freshmen in the lineup for this whole MAC tournament as the first pitch to Novak comes in. And it's in for a strike. Novak has been the one that has remained in the lineup the entire time. The revolving back and forth has been between Garrison Burrill and Justin Gorski. 0-1 pitch coming in. And he lines it the other way. That's a base hit through the left side of the infield. Good piece of hitting from Novak and a hit that had some pretty significant exit velocity from him to the opposite field. The inning remains alive for the 9-man Tyler Gordon. Two outs, bottom 2 as the RedHawks trail 3-1, runner on first. First pitch to Gordon. Framed up for strike 1 in the low part of the zone, 0-1. Gordon had the average drop under 300 for the first time in a little while yesterday, down to 299 after a pretty strong end of the regular season. 0-1 pitch, and he hits it on the ground over towards second. Makowitz will scoop it up, make the short backhand toss to Shulvin covering the second base bag, and the inning is over. So the RedHawks get 1 2-out hit, strand 1 in the bottom half of the second. Both teams go scoreless in our second frame of play. On to the third we go. Luke Ross will return to the bump with the RedHawks down 3-1. You're listening to Miami Baseball at the MAC Tournament on Red Hawk Radio. Charlie Shulvin leads off for Toledo, top half of the third inning. Rockets lead the RedHawks 3-1. Luke West Poley with you here on Red Hawk Radio. Third game of the MAC tournament for Miami, and the first elimination game the RedHawks are playing, as the next loss would spell the end of Miami's season. Same could be said for these Toledo Rockets. They've had to play one elimination game already. Beat Kent State yesterday, sent the Golden Flashes packing. Charlie Shulvin 1 for 1 with 2 RBIs. First pitch coming in. And he goes after it and smokes it foul. Down the left side. Shulvin, a 2 RBI single to right field. Came up with the bases loaded, nobody out in the first. Rockets would get one more run. And they lead it 3-1 now. Hits level at 4. More free passes on the Toledo side. 0-1 pitch coming in. And Shulvin takes near the shoes for ball 1. 3 free passes in total for the Rockets and none for the RedHawks drawn at the plate so far. 1-1 on Shulvin. Ross sets up. Kicks and throws home. Fastball skied high, 2-1. Luke Ross trying to complete his second complete inning of work. Came on a third of an inning into this game in relief of Nick Varnavas. 2-1 on Shulvin. Here comes. Turned on the ground over towards third. Zaborowski fields off his back foot, pumps once, and throws to first for the out. One away for Trey Wright. He walked his first time up to the plate. That reloaded the bases for Toledo following Shulvin's 2 RBI single. Bases empty, 1 away, top 3. Rockets still lead 3-1. Ross unloads the first pitch. A bender downstairs, 1-0. Ross throwing the ball behind the back, exclusively out of the stretch. Offers up. Swinging a foul tip back into David Novak, who again is shaken up, as that one got him good right in the center of the torso. And Novak keeled over for about 5 seconds. Looked like he was in a ton of pain, and then popped right back to his feet and waved the trainer off. Novak looked like he was really seething in pain, and then just as soon as he saw the trainer, said absolutely not. 1 ball, 1 strike on Trey Wright. Ross with his front foot offset towards first. Lifts the knee. 1-1. Breaking ball rolled on over towards first. Couple of hops. Applewick will pick it up next to the bag, taking himself 2 steps, and tag out Wright for the second out of the inning. So 2 away for Owen Jackson. He hit a sacrifice fly that brought in the last run for Toledo of that 3-run first. 3-1 Rockets with the bases empty. Ross trying to work his first clean 1-2-3. Last inning, gave up a leadoff hit, got a double play, then a 2-out walk. Did get out of it scoreless. First pitch. And Jackson flies this deep out towards center field. Mile high. This sends McDonald back to the wall, jumping up, and it is gone. Owen Jackson with a sky-scraping home run to straightaway center field. It's a solo shot, and the Rockets re-extend the lead to 3 and make it 4-1. That ball was hit super high off the bat. It looked like it couldn't be anything other than a flyout just by nature of how high it was hit. But that had some power behind it as well, and Owen Jackson, second on the team, adds his 16th home run of the year, and it is 4-1 Rockets. Base is still empty with 2 out now for J.P. Wagner. 0 for 1 with a pop out to short that got the second out rather of that first inning. Ross lifts the knee, throws the first pitch, and it scoots in low for ball 1. Ross wearing the 3/4 long sleeve under his jersey. Wheels and throws, and that bounces way before the plate. 2 balls, no strikes. Ross set up, working relatively quickly. Into the wind, 2-0. Fastball strike, 2 balls, 1 strike. Using about half the pitch clock. We really saw Bowling Green milk the pitch clock yesterday to the point where they were called for multiple pitch clock violations. 2-1 on Wagner. Lined out into right center field. This is dying, and it's down for a hit. So Wagner keeps the inning alive. Second 2-out hit in a row for the Rockets. And the top of the third continues on for Scott Makowitz. Runner on first, 2 men out. 4-1 Toledo. Now out hitting Miami 6-4. And now David Novak has come out from his post behind the plate to visit the mound. RedHawks have no one warming up in the bullpen. And at this point in the tournament, playing in an elimination game, you just got to throw out whoever you got. Can't really worry about saving anybody for potential future games. The RedHawks could play as many as 4 more games after this. But if they were to drop a single one, that would spell the end right there, and that includes this game. Just got to worry about what's in front of you right now. Makowitz standing in now as the pitcher-catcher conference ends. First pitch into Makowitz is in for a strike. RedHawks do have 2 of their 3 arms hot today from the opening game of this series, in which Carson Byers and Lucas Galdoni both came out of the bullpen. 0-1. Lifted out to shallow center field, and that'll deposit in for a base hit. Little blooper for Makowitz, and he's 1 for 2 now. Another 2-out knock. So for Miami, Byers and Galdoni, who each threw under 50 pitches. Galdoni throwing under 30. Both available to come in today and are 2 of Miami's top arms in their bullpen should they need them. Luke Ross has looked pretty good. But a little bit of a mini jam here after the home run. He's given up 2 straight base runners now on 2 outs. First pitch to Braden White. And that'll bounce in for ball 1. White is 1 for 1. First and second, 2 down. Rockets have 1 off the solo shot in this 3rd inning. That made it a 4-1 ball game. Ross looks at second, now home. Back to second goes his gaze. Now to the plate, 1-0. Pushed up in the air, foul on the right side. Ball and a strike. Ross up to 43 pitches. On the season, a 6 ERA. He started 6 games coming out of the bullpen now 12 times for Miami. 1-1. Turned on foul. Pulled to the left side. 1-2. Sophomore from Waunakee, Wisconsin. Played at IMG Academy. His last 4 outings, he's allowed 2 runs or less. Pretty good end of the season for Ross. 1-2, kick and pitch. Popped up right side. This might escape the infield, but just barely into foul ground goes Applewick, and backpedaling, he puts it away with 2 hands to retire the side. Solo homer and a little bit of a 2-out scare for the RedHawks. Had the potential for more for the Rockets, but they settle for 1, and the lead is back to 3. 4-1 UT. To the bottom of the 3rd we go. You're listening to Miami Baseball, the MAC Tournament on Red Hawk Radio. Top of the order leads off for Miami in the bottom of the 3rd. RedHawks trail Toledo by 3 runs, 4-1. Dylan Baker up to the plate for the 2nd time. Baker has scored Miami's lone run. He's 1 for 1 with a base hit. Jackson Bergman back out there into the line. First pitch. And Baker takes a strike. Letter high, 0-1. Luke Ross came out of the bullpen. He's been very strong for Miami. Gave up a solo home run in the top half of the inning, but hasn't allowed as much as Nick Vardavis, as the 0-1 is smoked on the ground towards 3rd. Knocked down with the chest of right, regathers and throws on to 1st for the 1st out. Vardavis just struggled in getting paper cut like he has at points this season. The tougher outings this year for Vardavis have come when he's just given up soft contact base hits, and unfortunately it was one of those days today for him. But Ross came in and has allowed just 1 run so far through 2 2/3. Zach McDonald now at the plate for Miami. First pitch to him. And he takes a strike, 0-1. McDonald 1 for 1 today. Got his second hit of the tournament. 2 for his last 2 at the plate. After he was 0 for to start. 0-1 pitch. McDonald takes down low, 1-1. Unfortunately for McDonald, wind really got taken out of the RedHawks' sails in that first inning when he was picked off at second base. Later on, 1-1. McDonald pulls it foul. Miami had first and second, 1 out in that first inning, down 3-1. And McDonald was picked off. And then David Novak flew out to center field to end the inning. 1-2 on McDonald. Hit on the ground towards third. This time Wright scoops it up and quickly will throw over to first, where Wagner stretches it and pulls it in for the second out. RedHawks have hit the ball hard at times, but have struggled with keeping the ball off the ground so far off of Jackson Bergman. Ty Bonicic up, bases clear, 2 down with the RedHawks down 4-1. Opening pitch is bounced over towards first. Sliding over on it, Wagner throws to his covering pitcher. It's behind him. Luckily backed up by White all the way out near the plate. But Bonicic will reach. That was hit to an awkward spot in the infield as Wagner had to go back and to his right towards the outfield. Made a nice stab at the ball to even come up with it in the first place, but then had to hurry that over to his pitcher and Bergman, who had to come a long way in a short period of time, try and cover the bag, and he just threw it behind him in between the mound and first. So now the batter up to the plate is Evan Applewick. First pitch in is a strike, 0-1. That is scored an error, it looks like, for the Rockets, and so the throwing error in E3 puts Bonicic aboard. 0-1 on Applewick. Fastball in there, 0-2, so a really strong bounce back here from Bergman after the defense didn't help his cause. No balls, 2 strikes on Applewick. He's 1 for 1 today with a base hit and pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. 3-pitch strikeout following the 2-out error for Jackson Bergman. That's a quick bottom of the third inning for the Rockets in the field. Toledo wins the third with the solo home run. That was all they needed as the RedHawks were held scoreless. We go to the fourth inning here from Avon. It's Toledo 4 and Miami 1. Stay with us. You're listening to Miami Baseball at the Mid-American Conference Tournament on RedHawk Radio. Top of the fourth inning here from Avon, and Toledo continues to lead Miami. The score, Rockets 4 and RedHawks 1. Top of the order for the Rockets in the road half, and it's Caden Konzak up to the plate for the third time. He has singled and grounded into a double play today. Luke Ross still out there for the RedHawks. The hard-throwing lefty sets up from the stretch with nobody on, and the first pitch is turned on foul, absolutely shot down the right side. Konzak 1 for 2. He scored one of the Rockets' 3 runs in the first. The run in the fourth, or the third rather, with the fourth run was a solo shot from Owen Jackson out to center field. 0-1 on Konzak. Here's the pitch. pushed off the mound. It deflects off the bump way back in the hole over at second. Gordon, check that, Baker, who was shifted to the right side, got to it and threw on to first in time to beat out the speedy Konzak for the out. Baker was playing just to the right of second base and back on the very edge of the infield next to the outfield grass, and that was perfect position with the ball deflecting off the mound for him to grab it and make a pretty long throw from back there for the first out. So Garrett Pike now at the plate. He's 1 for 1, reaching base twice. First pitch from Ross. Shows bunt, pulls it back as he takes in the dirt for ball 1. Seen Toledo do this a few times. Pike, again, didn't really fully ever put the bunt up. He kind of put it halfway down, but never really showed the bat entirely. 1-0 on him, and pitch. Takes downstairs, no bunt shown this time, 2-0. Ross working from the third base side of the rubber. Set up at the belt. Heaves in the 2-0. Fastball that he spiked about 5 feet short of the plate. 3-0 on Pike. At risk of walking Pike for the second time. Pike, one of 2 players that have walked against Ross, the other being Trey Wright back in the first inning. 2 walks by Nick Vardavis as well. 3-0 pitch is a fastball in for strike 1. Pike holding the bat on the shoulder. The 3-1 offering is crushed out towards left center field, slicing towards the gap. McDonald coming around it, and not quite at the track. He is there to make the play for the second out. So good job to work back from 3-0 for Ross, and there are 2 outs in the inning. This happened for Ross last time in the third, but this is where things got a little bit tougher. Gave up the home run and then 2 base hits, all on 2 outs. Did get out of the inning, only giving up that 1 off the solo shot. But things got a little bit hairy towards the end of that third inning. Luke Walton is at the plate. His first offering. Jammed up in the air on the left side and floated foul. Walton is 0 for 1 but has walked and scored. That was the third Toledo run, final one of the first inning. 4-1 Rockets, bases empty, 2 away in the top of the fourth. 0-1. Fastball pushed out towards left field, and that's down for a base hit. So the 2-out hitting continues for the Rockets. As now the first batter that has come up in the last 3 innings on 2 outs has reached base. Charlie Chauvin, responsible for half of Toledo's offensive output with 2 RBIs now at the plate. Runner on first, 2 away in the top of the fourth. It's 4-1 Rockets. Ross's first offering is popped up on the infield. Should be playable down the third base side into foul ground. Zaborowski comes to the MAC logo halfway up the line and in foul ground makes the catch to retire the side. So 1-2 out hit, but this time Luke Ross holds it to a single instead of the solo shot from the third, and the Rockets are held scoreless for the second time. 4-1 Toledo through 3.5. Miami to the plate when we come back. You're listening to Miami Baseball at the MAC Tournament on Red Hawk Radio. 4-1 Rockets, bottom four here from Crusher Stadium. Luke West Poley with you on Red Hawk Radio in this elimination game this morning. David Novak leads off for Miami against Jackson Bergman, rather. The RedHawks looking for that second run. First pitch to Novak, and he jams the first one on the ground over towards the mound, and Bergman's going to run it all the way to the bag himself. A one unassisted for the first out. So quickly one away for Miami as Bergman continues to keep the pitch count low through 3 1/3. He's at just 38 pitches thrown. Justin Gorski next to bat for Miami, 0 for 1 with a ground out to short today. Into the wind, first offering. Gorski takes a strike over the plate, 0 1. Bergman working awfully quick as the 0-1 comes in, and that bounces in. Gorski says it hit him on the foot. He checks his swing, appealed to third, says he didn't go around, and Gorski will get the hit by pitch. Gorski sprinted over to first base once he saw that appeal went his direction. Runner on first with one out for Rylan Zaborowski. Miami looking to answer to a 4-1 Rocket lead in the bottom of the fourth. Right on right out of the stretch, Bergman kicks and deals. Zaborowski takes a strike, knee high, 0-1. Redshirt junior season for Zaborowski, could come back next year for the RedHawks. Potentially, was draft eligible last season, as there's a pickoff over to first base. Some projections had him as a late round pick. Didn't end up happening. Played in the MLB Draft League for the Trenton Thunder last summer. 0-1 to Zaborowski, runner fakes, and Zaborowski flies it high in the air on the right side, foul. Zaborowski was in the transfer portal, but Coach Smiley convinced him to come back, and that was huge for this Miami offensive output this year. Down 0-2 here, Bergman throws home. Lined up the middle, it's off the mound, into the breadbasket of Makowitz at second, flips to second for one, on to first, double play, 4-6-3, side retired. Jackson Bergman with the hit by pitch faces the minimum after drawing a double play. In the bottom half of the fourth inning, the RedHawks go scoreless for the third straight frame. We go to the fifth. It's 4-1 Rockets. You're listening to Miami Baseball on Red Hawk Radio. Trey Wright leads off in the top half of the fifth inning here for the Rockets. It is Toledo 4 and Miami 1 from Avon. Luke Ross still out there for the RedHawks, and the lefty with the hold next to the belt unloads the first pitch and just misses the top of the zone. Didn't quite fall enough, 1-0. Third time through the order for the Rockets. Trey Wright is 0 for 1 with a walk. Last time up, grounded out to first base. 1-0 offering on the way. Dropper low, 2 balls, no strikes. Wright is the only hitless Rocket as Luke Walton picking up a hit. Third time through the order was the 8th man to get a knock. 2-0. In for a strike. 2 times through the order for Toledo. 7 of the 9 men in the order hit safely. 2-1 on Trey Wright, left on left. From the back of the box, he awaits. And the offering. Fastball strike framed up on the low part of the zone, 2-2. Break-even pitch on Trey Wright at 2-2. Reaches and lifts it up on the left side, foul. Pitch was probably just off the outside corner of the zone, but Wright defends it with 2 strikes. 60 pitches now for Luke Ross in relief. And the 2-2. Fastball in, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Miami bullpen is not active with any sort of throwing. There is some stretching going on. 3-2 to Wright. And he lifts it up behind the plate. That will just get out of play. Onto the concourse. Carson Byers is out there doing some band work. We could potentially see him today. First team All-Max selection relief pitcher for Miami. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Trey Wright. Kick and pitch. Grounder up the middle, and that squeaks through for a base hit. To the right of second base, Trey Wright hits safely. All 9 men have now done that for the Rockets. And the leadoff man aboard in the top half of the 5th. Now Owen Jackson comes to the plate. 2 productive trips to the plate so far with a sacrifice fly and a solo homer. Chauvin along with Jackson each with 2 RBIs as the Rockets lead at 4-1. Ross will throw over to first base, but Wright will take 2 steps back to the bag and stand up. Top half of the 5th inning, runner on first, nobody out, with Toledo leading Miami 4-1. Ross standing tall on the bump. First pitch. Inside for ball 1. Ross carries a pretty interesting delivery. He kind of lifts the front leg, but he nearly drags it along the mound when he goes to plant because he doesn't really have much knee bend on that front leg. 1-0. Inside for ball 2. All he does is kind of lift it just barely off the ground and then move it slowly so his toe points toward home. Doesn't really lift the knee with a super dramatic leg kick like most guys you'll see. 2-0 on Jackson, pitch. Outside, ball 3. Ross is a very promising RedHawk bullpen arm. When he's been throwing strikes, he's been very solid this year for Miami. Mentioned his end of the year, last 4 appearances, all 2 runs or less, which is a good sign. 3-0, in for a strike, 3-1. Responsible for 1 run today. That was the Jackson homer. But one of the hardest throwing lefties Miami's got right now. With the 3-1 pitch. Just outside, ball 4. Looked like he went with the off speed and a little bit of late life to it. Took it out of the zone. And the walk puts him on first and second with nobody out. Most of the lefties Miami has on the staff are pretty breaking pitch heavy. Ross is the one that can get up into the lower mid-90s with the fastball. J.P. Wagner at the plate, first and second. Nobody gone. First pitch, he shows bunt, and we'll pull it back as the pitch flies outside, 1-0. Zaborowski in at third, a couple steps beneath the bag. 1-0 pitch, bunt put up again, and pulled back once more as it sinks down low for ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes on Wagner. Ross back at second, steps and throws. Bunt put down this time, foul. As Wagner hits the bat against the turf in frustration. Got it off the bottom of the bat, ran into David Novak behind the plate, 2-1. Toledo out hitting Miami right now, 9-4. RedHawks don't have a hit since the second inning. We're here in the top of the fifth. 2-1 on Wagner, and pitch. Bunt pulled up and back as the pitch goes way up high above his head. 3 balls and a strike from Luke Ross, who might be running out of gas here with the pitch count north of 70. And it is Carson Byers out there that's warming up for Miami. 3 balls, 1 strike. Ross deals, and the bunt is put out towards third. Ross will field it himself, turn around, and throw on to first in time for the out. So the successful sacrifice for Wagner, but honestly for Miami, not as bad as the alternative, which was ball 4 on him. The sacrifice goes from 3-1, or rather 1-3. And Larry Scully is coming out of the dugout for Miami. Carson Byers looks like he is getting ready in a hurry. He is throwing the ball, and as soon as it's back in his glove, throwing it again. So trying to hurriedly get set, and this is probably a chance by Coach Scully to buy his reliever some time as he's out there talking to Luke Ross. Second and third, 1 out. At the top of the fifth for the Rockets, leading Miami 4-1. Ross so far has gone 4 innings now, having gotten the first out here of the fifth. 6 hits, just the 1 run, 2 walks, and a strikeout for Ross. Responsible for guys on second and third, and now Scott Makowitz will look to pad the RBI totals. 23 of them on the year. Does carry a power bat as well, 11 doubles and 11 homers. The 11 doubles tied for second in this batting lineup. Second and third, 1 out. Ross gets set and throws. A first pitch strike on Makowitz, 0-1. Nothing and 1 on Ross. Applewick trotting in, maybe expecting a bunt here as the pitch comes in, and Makowitz swings and misses at a pitch that bounced before it got to home. So Ross just fooled him there with the breaking ball, and he's down 0-2. Carson Byers is now all the way to the mound, up and throwing. RedHawks bring the infield in now. Everybody is on the edge of the grass, 0-2. Just outside. Makowitz moved the hands, elected not to swing. Good decision. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ross sets at the belt, looking at a vacant first base. Here's the pitch. It bounces in, trickles away from David Novak. Runner coming to the plate. Throw in from Ross is safe at home. The throw in from Novak to Ross got to him in time, but he tried to apply the tag and just wasn't in reach of right. That ball barely scooted away outside the home plate area, but enough to get Trey Wright home, and Toledo adds another run. Runner moves up to third as well. So now a 2-2 count on Scott Makowitz and a runner on third. And now time called, and we're going to see Carson Byers enter the game. So for Luke Ross, this was a pretty good outing out of the bullpen for him. If that runner can be stranded on third, it would be another one with 2 runs or less allowed. He is responsible for 2 runs and that runner on third. But if this is indeed his last outing of the year, that's definitely one that he can be proud of here in the MAC tournament, as he has kept this game somewhat close. Miami needs run support, but that will come after they try to grab these last couple outs. Carson Byers enters the game for the RedHawks, top half of the fifth, and one away. Toledo leads at 5-1 with a runner on third, and Miami's star lefty will enter the game. Stay with us as we step aside. You're listening to Miami Baseball at the Mid-American Conference Tournament on Red Hawk Radio. Second reliever into the game for Miami. RedHawks have the infield in, and it's a 2-2 count on Scott Makowitz as Carson Byers, Miami's top left-handed relief arm, enters the game for the second time in the MAC tournament. First pitch is a 2-2. Inside on Makowitz, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Runner on third, 1 out with the Rockets leading 5-1 in the top half of the fifth inning. Toledo just got a run. Luke Ross's final pitch was a wild pitch that turned a second and third situation into a run, as now a runner on third. Payoff pitch to Makowitz is way inside, ball 4. Miami's a team that brings pitchers in the middle of at-bats quite a lot compared to other teams, and the RedHawks do so there, and unfortunately for Byers, that just got away from him on the last couple of pitches, but came in and already a 2-2 count. To the 9-man on the order, runners on the corners with 1 out for Braden White, with the Rockets up 5-1 in the fifth. Toledo serving as the road team as the number 6 seed, trying to traverse the loser's bracket after dropping their opening game. Runner goes first pitch. It's grounded over towards short. There will only be 1 play to first. Run will score as Baker throws over there in time for the out, but the run from third comes in as Jackson scores. Makowitz makes it up to second with the hit and run, and it's an RBI ground out for Braden White as Toledo makes it 6-1 in the top half of the fifth. Runner on second, 2 down, and back to the top of the order, and Caden Konzak, who was 1 for 3. Left on left here. This is the third lefty in a row that Miami has put out there. First pitch to Konzak. Slides outside for ball 1. Runner on second, 2 outs. RedHawks have the right side of the infield position way back with Gordon in right field, 1-0. And Konzak bumps it foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. Carson Byers was an All-MAC selection, making his second appearance at the tournament after he was excellent in relief. 2 innings thrown, 1 unearned run, and no hits on Wednesday. 1-1. Jam shot on the ground towards second. Gordon fields it in shallow right, slings it on to first for the out, and that's the sign. Toledo gets 2 more runs to pad their lead. It's 6-1 Rockets as we're halfway home in this elimination game from Avon. RedHawks need some runs. See if they can get them when we come back with the 8-9-1 men due up. You're listening to Miami Baseball at the Mid-American Conference Tournament on Red Hawk Radio. Bottom half of inning number 5 here from Avon as Toledo continues to lead Miami. Rockets added 2 more in the top half of the 5th. It is 6-1 UT. Ryan Novak leads off, in the bottom of the 5th, and the first pitch to the lefty is taken under the zone for ball 1. Jackson Bergman still out there, Rockets starter, for his 5th inning of work. Miami has already gone to 2 relief arms, Luke Ross and Carson Byers. 1-0 pitch. In for a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike on Novak, who is 1 for 1 with a base hit coming in the 2nd inning. Into the wind, 1-1 offering. Outside, 2 balls and a strike. Luke Ross threw 73 pitches in relief, 6 hits, 3 runs, all earned, 2 walks and a strikeout, so he won't get the 2 runs or less streak continuing, but still a pretty solid outing. 2-1, put on the ground over towards second. Makowitz will field and fire and beat Novak for the first out of the inning. To the bottom of the order, Tyler Gordon, 0 for 1, grounded into a fielder's choice to end the 2nd inning. Second chance at it against Jackson Bergman, who has really shut the door on Miami after the RedHawks were threatening to score some pretty significant runs in the 1st inning. Miami only got 1. First pitch to Gordon. In for a strike, 0-1. Corners in, middle out for Toledo, as Tyler Gordon, a pretty good bunter for hits, does so relatively often. 0-1 pitch is down at ankle height. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gordon twirls the bat. More quick work, and a pitch on the 1-1 is cut through, strike 2. Jackson Bergman continues to have these hitters a little bit off balance, only using about 5 seconds of the pitch clock before he's into the wind. Here's the 1-2 on Gordon. Shows bunt and pulls it back. Risky move there with 2 strikes as he takes ball 2. Miami bunted on 2 strikes twice in the opening game against Kent State. 2-2. Gordon spoils it foul. One time it worked out, one time it didn't. It was 2 freshmen that did it, Garrison Burrill and Justin Gorski. Gorski bunted foul and was out. Burrill got it in play. 2-2 on Gordon. That hits him on the bounce. That just got away from Bergman. That bounced probably 15 feet before home and had so much room after the bounce that it came all the way back up and probably hit Gordon about letter high on his side. But Gordon will trot over to first base. Didn't look shaken up in the slightest as it's back to the top of the order. 1 away and a runner on first for Dylan Baker. First pitch. Baker takes in the dirt. It's smothered by White, ball 1. Gordon does run well. He's 7 for 8 this year, stealing bags. 6-1 Rockets in the bottom of the 5th. Out of the stretch, Bergman lifts the knee and offers. Swing and a miss. Runner goes. Throw is high, and it's into center field. Gordon back to his feet safely at second. He'll elect not to go to third, as that was backed up relatively quickly by Pike. Might have had time there. It looked like Bergman got that pitch in pretty quickly, and Gordon didn't necessarily have him completely timed up. But obviously very difficult to tell with that throw about 10 feet over the head of both middle infielders for the Rockets, how close of a play that would have been. Runner into second now, 1-1 on Baker, and the pitch. Fastball strike at the top of the zone, as high as the cursive Miami on the front of Baker's jersey. It's 1-2. Ball and 2 strikes. Bergman hangs the arm, set at the shoulders, looking back at second. Long look, now home, the pitch. Strike 3 called on the inside half of the zone. Baker arguing with home plate umpire Michael Wiseman on his way back to the dugout. That was into the front door. As a little bit of break took that into the plate, and there are 2 down. Runner on second, 2 away for Zach McDonald. He's 1 for 2. Right on right, first pitch. And McDonald sends it sky high out into right center. Pike slowly making his way in. And now a couple of crossovers to his left to make the catch to end the inning. So the RedHawks do get Tyler Gordon on with the hit by pitch, but they strand him in scoring position here in the 5th, and it continues to be 6-1 Rockets on to inning number 6. Stay with us. You're listening to Miami Baseball at the Mid-American Conference Tournament on Red Hawk Radio. Garrett Pike walks up to some George Michael in the top of the 6th inning as he leads off. His Toledo Rockets lead the Miami RedHawks 6-1. Luke West Poley with you here on Red Hawk Radio. RedHawks will need a pretty large comeback effort over these last few innings to try and keep their season going as Carson Byers is out there on the bump. First pitch on the way to Pike, and it's outside for ball 1. Good news is Byers is Miami's top relief guy. And he's going to probably give your bats a chance to at least do something in the late innings of this game. 1-0 on Pike, the pitch. Fastball sunk beneath the zone, 2-0. Miami bats haven't done anything since the first, in which they scored 1 run. Toledo got 2 insurance runs in the last inning in the 5th. 2 balls, no strikes on Garrett Pike. Kick pitch, and Pike wraps it first base side. A diving effort by Applewick, but it's past his glove into the corner for a base hit. Pike's going to try to stretch this to 2. Throw comes into second, and it's just wide of the bag, and Pike gets into second sliding. Novak might have had a chance at him at second base there. Cut it off before it reached the wall. It looked like he was going to hose Pike at second base, but the throw was a little offline, hopping in to Dylan Baker, the shortstop, and Pike slid into second base safely. Leadoff double is the first extra base hit for either team besides the Garrett Pike, or rather Owen Jackson home run. Runner on second, nobody out now for Luke Walton. First pitch on the way. And Walton lines this into right field. Gordon leaps up but can't make the catch. That's a base hit. Pike will round third. Throw coming into the plate is cut off by Applewick. And a run scores as Pike is in on the Luke Walton RBI single. So 2 pretty similar type of hits there for the Rockets. And an RBI single for Luke Walton makes it 7-1 Toledo with nobody out. And a man on first now in the top of the 6th. Charlie Shulvin got the offense started for the Rockets with a 2 RBI single in the first. That still stands as the go-ahead hit for Toledo. Left on right, Byers out of the stretch, kicks and throws, runner goes, and the pitch is fouled back to the backstop. Toledo trying to traverse the tricky road through the loser's bracket, and it is a lengthy loser's bracket with the MAC tournament being extended this year to 6 teams. 0-1 on Shulvin. Kicking the pitch, and it's in for a strike, 0-2. So the Rockets lost their opener. They played the 10 a.m. game yesterday and won that. If they want to make it through today, they'll not only have to finish this game off, but then win this afternoon. Then they'd have to win 2 games tomorrow to send it to a decisive game on Sunday. 0-2, outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. So if you can do the math, 10 a.m. game yesterday, 10 a.m. game today, 6 games tomorrow. 2 games Sunday, 2 games Monday, 2 games Tuesday, 2 games Wednesday, 2 games Thursday, 2 games Friday, 2 games Saturday, 2 games Sunday, 2 games Monday, 2 games Tuesday, 2 games Wednesday, 2 games Thursday, 2 games Friday, 2 games Saturday, 2 games Sunday. So if you can That's 7 games here this week between Wednesday and Sunday. 1-2, line into right center, and that's a base hit. This is carrying towards the gap, and it will be cut off before it gets to the wall, but Walton can round second and head for third, and Shulvin has got a base knock to put him on the corners with nobody out. This has been a tough elimination game for the RedHawks. They put in their best reliever, and even Carson Byers just hasn't been able to crack this Toledo lineup as the Rockets are starting to tee off on him here in the 6th. With Toledo leading 7-1, runners on the corners and nobody out in the top of the 6th for Trey Wright. 1 for 2 today with a single and a walk. Left on left. Myers first offering. Coming home, check that. Throw over to first instead after a knee lift. Myers set up on the bump. Kicking the pitch. Back foot breaking ball that is not swung on by Wright. He holds for ball 1. Myers can provide length and relief as the 1-0 pitch comes in. Downstairs ball 2. He's thrown now 20 pitches. But started some midweek games last year for the RedHawks. Started against Ohio State. 2-0 to Wright, and that's down low for ball 3. You can get multiple innings out of him, and it's looking like that's what the RedHawks will do with the bullpen empty. We'll see how long, though, these struggles are for Byers, as he's already given up a run in this inning, and runners on the corners. A 3-0 on Trey Wright is high and in for ball 4. So now he has walked the bases loaded, and there's still nobody out in the inning. Owen Jackson up to the plate for Toledo. He has already homered in this game. 1 for 1. In addition to the home run, a walk and a run scored, and a sacrifice fly. Bases loaded, nobody out with the Rockets up 7-1, top of the 6th. First pitch to Jackson. Slides outside for ball 1. Looks like Ahmad Harajli is kind of peering over at the Miami dugout right now, as it looks like some work is pending in the Miami bullpen. 1-0. Jackson checks his swing, but he went around. 1-1. There are 4 guys over there stretching, and Harajli additionally is standing up next to all the pitchers over there. 1-1 pitch. Jackson way out in front of it. Got spun around on that big swing, and it's 1-2. Ball and 2 strikes on Jackson, and the pitch. Breaking ball, strike 3 called on the front door. Byers just went high and tight and found the inside part of the zone to sit down Owen Jackson. He's retired with an unproductive out for the first time in this game. J.P. Wagner up to the plate now for the Rockets with the bases still loaded and 1 away. Double play possibility, though, up for the RedHawks. Byers set from the third base side. First pitch to Wagner. Sweeps way outside for ball 1. Now some throwing has started in the RedHawk bullpen. 1-0 from Byers. Coming in. Wagner checks the swing, and there will be no appeal. He did hold. It's 2-0. Double barrel in the RedHawk bullpen. Tyler Ronovich and Lucas Galdoni both throwing. 2 balls, no strikes on J.P. Wagner. Pitch. Wagner jams it up in the air, carrying into shallow right. Tyler Gordon backpedaling, makes the catch from second. Throw coming into the plate, and it is just wide of the bag as the runner tags and scores. Nearly a highlight reel play. It was a heck of a catch from Gordon, but throwing off his back foot, just couldn't quite make an accurate throw to home, and a run will score for the Rockets to make it 8-1. That will go down as a sacrifice for Wagner. So Toledo now leads by 7, top of the 6th inning. 2 more runs in for the Rockets, first and second, 2 down for Scott Makowitz. First pitch in, and it bounces through and somehow got by Novak, and both runners will advance. It bounced in, and Novak tried to just kind of pick it first baseman style and missed. And the ball flew over his right shoulder, and actually it looked like it hit the home plate umpire, Michael Wiseman, and just kind of deflected behind home. So 1-0 on Makowitz. Byers nods, still out of the stretch. Lifts the knee and deals. In near the belt, 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes. Byers upright on the bump. Offers home. A fastball up near the chin. 3 balls, no strikes. Looks like Tyler Ronovich has been sat down, and Lucas Galdoni is now the only one throwing out in the Miami bullpen. 3 balls, no strikes. Pitch to Makowitz. Fastball over the plate for strike 1. Toledo with 8 runs off 12 hits so far. 2 extra basers, a double by Garrett Pike to lead off this inning, and a solo home run from Owen Jackson. The rest all singles, 10 of them. 3-1 pitch. Makowitz takes ball 4. Inside, and the bases are reloaded with the walk. 2 walks in 2 innings for Scott Makowitz. Bases are juiced for Braden White. He is 1 for 3, his last time up grounding out, but bringing home a run for the Rockets. White has singled in this game. The first pitch to him had some velo taken off, but is in for a strike. Lucas Galdoni has backed up to the bump. Nothing in 1 on White, in the pitch. High and away, 1 ball, 1 strike. One and one on White. Left on right, Galdoni will likely be the first right-handed arm, we'll see. 1-1 pitch. In for a strike, 1 and 2. 3 lefties so far from Miami against a lineup for Toledo that's included 7 lefties, but it hasn't mattered. The Rockets have scored 8 off the RedHawks through 5 2/3. Bases loaded, 2 outs in an 8-1 game led by the Rockets. Myers, 1-2 pitch. Just tapped foul. Galdoni throwing out there is one of a few guys, quite honestly, that this Miami team will lose. So at the very least for the RedHawks, who've had a pretty good first season under Brian Smiley. Right now a game over 500 in year 1 as the 1-2 comes in. Up high, 2-2. RedHawks won't really lose a ton of guys that made significant impacts. They'll lose a few pitchers, as Zach Maxey's been hurt for the majority of the year. Martin Sosna, a couple guys out of eligibility, Galdoni as well, but batting lineup's going to see a lot of guys back. 2-2, golfed out to left, and coming in on it, Gorski is camped and has it for the 3rd out of the inning. So Carson Byers gets out of the 6th, but the Rockets add 2 more. It's a 7-run lead for UT. Headed to the bottom half for the inning. Bonisic, Applewick, and Novak, the 3 due up for the RedHawks. When we come back, you're listening to Miami Baseball at the MAC Tournament on Red Hawk Radio. Ty Bonisic up to the plate for Miami in the bottom of the 6th as the RedHawks trail Toledo 8-1 in this elimination game here from Avon. Winner on to take on Ball State immediately following this game. Loser will be the second team eliminated from the MAC tournament. First pitch to Bonisic is high and away for ball 1 from Jackson Bergman. Rockets starter out there for his 6th inning of work. Bonisic 0 for 2, reaching on an error his last time up. 1-0, and the pitch coming in. Downstairs, 2 balls, no strikes. Bonisic wrapping up his first year with the Hawks. Western Kentucky transfer. Very successful opening season with Miami. 2-0, the kick and the pitch. Up high for ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes now. Three balls, no strikes on Bonisic, and it's in for a strike, 3-1. Bonisic batting left, and now the 3-1 pitch, and he jams it foul, and it's worked back full. Bergman continuing to work very quickly, and has been successful in doing so. No runs for the RedHawks in the last 4 innings after scoring 1 in the first. 3-2 on Bonisic, pitch. Jammed up the middle and through for a base hit. In on the hands from Bonisic, but got enough muscle on it to put it out into center field on a 1-hop, and Miami's got the leadoff man on in the bottom of the 6th inning. Evan Applewick will climb in for the RedHawks. Runner on first, nobody out. Bottom 6, Miami down 7. First pitch on the way. Applewick takes a fastball at eye level for ball 1. And this will draw a visit from White behind the plate. Talked a little bit about who Miami's going to get back in the last half inning. You know, there will be things that'll happen with the portal as there typically are. You know, some movement and that stuff can be hard to predict. But barring transfers right now, Miami will not lose a single often contributing position player. As all 4 players on this RedHawk roster that are out of eligibility are pitchers. 1-0 pitch, smoked on the ground towards second. It eats up Chauvin, but he gets it back to throw over to second for the force. Bobbled it, but enough to get at least 1 out. That ball was hit very hard and tough to handle. So no double play, but Toledo does get the lead runner and collects it out in the bottom of the 6th inning. David Novak will come up. Zach Maxey, Martin Sosna, Lucas Galdoni, and Ryan Zimmer, the 4 guys that are sitting on their last year of eligibility here in 2024. David Novak at the plate, first pitch on the way, and Novak takes below the zone for ball 1. And so Miami will probably lose 1, if not maybe 2 or 3 guys to the draft. Zach McDonald will almost assuredly be one of them. 1-0 in there for a strike. But overall, you're looking at potentially every position player back. First full recruiting class for Brian Smiley. Chance to develop some of these guys already on the staff. 1-1, 2 hopped over towards short. It's flipped to second for 1. Turn on to first, double play this time, and the Rockets do turn it to retire the side. So 2 men reach for the RedHawks, but it's still a minimum inning for Toledo as we go to the 7th. It's 8-1 Rockets here from Avon. You're listening to Miami Baseball at the MAC Tournament on Red Hawk Radio. Lucas Galdoni coming on in relief for the RedHawks in the top half of the 7th inning with Miami down 8-1 in this elimination game as the RedHawks have 9 outs left to try and get 7 runs and keep their season going. Top of the order up for Toledo, Caden Konzak, the one man in the order that didn't get to hit in the 6th. Rockets got 2 runs, stranded the bases loaded in the last inning. Right on left, first pitch to Konzak is down low for ball 1. Lucas Galdoni pitching for the 2nd time this weekend, and for the 2nd time follows up Carson Byers through 2 innings and gave up nothing. No walks, no hits, 4 strikeouts. 2 perfect innings against Kent State 2 days ago. 1-0 pitch inside on Konzak, 2 balls, no strikes. Carson Byers goes an inning and 2/3, close the book on that. 3 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 3 walks, and a strikeout for Byers. 2-0 on Konzak. Kick, deal, and Konzak lines it over towards short. Dylan Baker makes a jumping catch on the line drive, and that's the first down of the 7th. Garrett Pike coming to the plate for UT. One of 2 Rocket extra base hits have come from his bat. He's 2 for 3 today. First pitch on the way for Pike, and he takes a strike, 0-1. Now the 0-1 offering on the way, and Pike taps it foul. Pike readying back, sitting at 0-2. Bases clear, top of the 7th, 8-1 game. Led by the Rockets. Pitch outside. One ball, 2 strikes on Pike. Galdoni sets. Pretty strikeout heavy last time. Looking for his first pitch. Fastball way high. First righty the RedHawks have thrown out in Galdoni. The Butler grad transfer, 5th year here for the RedHawks. Been good in his one and only season for Miami this year. 2-2, pitch to Pike. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Got a small piece, but fouled it into the glove, squeezed by Novak, and there are 2 down in the top of the 7th. So the base is empty, and Galdoni continuing to throw shutdown stuff as he hasn't allowed a base runner yet in the tournament. Luke Walton at the plate. 2 away in the top of the 7th. First pitch to the lefty. He swings and fouls it back. Galdoni sets up exclusively from the stretch. 0-1. Just underneath the zone. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's an efficient 2 innings. Helps when you don't allow any base runners, but under 30 pitches for Galdoni 2 days ago. 1-1 on Walton. Swing and a miss. Brought the fastball by him, 1-2. Rockets have struck out just 3 times today, and they've got 12 hits, 10 singles, a double, and a homer. Successful offensive day for the 2nd straight game for the Rockets. 1-2 is foul tipped, and Novak had it hit the leather but couldn't hold on. And Walton will see another one. Ball and 2 strikes on Luke Walton. And now the pitch. Swinging a grounder over towards second. Gordon was in shallow right, charges into the infield, picks it up and fires on to first in time for the out. First 1-2-3 inning for the RedHawks in the field all day comes from Lucas Galdoni in relief. No surprises there for the RedHawk righty. On to the bottom of the 7th, stretch time. RedHawks down 7, 8-1 our score with the Rockets in front. You're listening to Miami Baseball at the MAC Tournament on RedHawk Radio. Bottom half of the 7th inning here from Avon. Miami down 8-1, and the first pitch in is down low for ball 1 to Justin Gorski. Jackson Bergman still out there for the Rockets. This is huge for Toledo as they're saving their bullpen right now. 1-0 on Gorski is in for a strike, with the Rockets up 7 runs, out hitting Miami 12-5. 1-1. In for a strike, 1-2. Bergman continues to not take much rest between pitches and hasn't needed it. He's thrown 6 scoreless frames in a row. 1-2. Fouled off. Rather, 5 scoreless frames, and then since the first, into the 7th now. Leadoff man Gorski was hit by a pitch on the foot his last time up to the plate. He's 0 for 1. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Justin Gorski. And the pitch. Outside, 2-2. Bergman into the wind. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and the pitch to Gorski, and he pushes it foul. Rockets have brought up 8 more men to the plate than the RedHawks have, out hitting them by 7. Free passes have been limited as well. 2-2 downstairs, ball 3. Jackson Bergman has not walked a batter yet, but has hit 2. 3-2. There's the first walk, up high, ball 4. Free pass for Gorski for the second time. And now Rylan Zaborowski is at the plate for the RedHawks. Zaborowski is 0 for 2, grounded into a double play his last time up. First pitch on the way. And ball 1 down low. Tall 6'5" Zaborowski, right on right. The sun is out here in Avon. And now we get a visit out to the mound. There was no throwing in the Toledo bullpen, and now it will start. So the Rockets dial up a conference on the bump. And it is the third baseman right meeting with pitcher, catcher, pitching coach right now for the Rockets, as the meeting is relatively brief. Rockets had 2 bullpen catchers start to put on gear. Haven't started throwing yet in the bullpen. 1-0 on Zaborowski, and that's in for a strike. And now it looks like the throwing will begin for the Rockets out there. It's Kyle Pajacek, the right-hander. 2-0. Up high, ball 3 on Zaborowski. That's 7 balls in a row now. Or rather, 5 in a row following the foul from Gorski. 3-0. In for a strike, 3-1. So that breaks the streak. And Zaborowski will see another one at 3 balls and a strike. Runner on first, nobody out. Bottom 7, RedHawks down 7. 3-1. Zaborowski goes after it, grounds it to the right side. It's off the glove of Bergman over to his second baseman, and Makowitz, who throws to first for the out. Well, that play went all manner of ways as Gorski advances up to second base, as Zaborowski is out on the 1-4-3. Put out at first. Off the bat, that looked like double play, and then once it hit the glove of Bergman, looked like a potential for no play there at all. But a good job by Makowitz to come in from right field, shallow right position there from second to get the out at first. Ryan Novak at the plate now, first pitch to him. In for a strike, 0-1. Gorski on second for Miami. He's got pretty good speed. Long look from Bergman at him as he deals home to Novak, and that's strike two. Two similar spots. Waist high, inner part of the zone. No balls, two strikes on Ryan Novak. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Went after the breaking ball in the dirt. It'll require a throw to first, but it is made by White, and there are two outs. Miami looking to avoid stranding another runner. Stranding runners has been a bit of a problem this weekend for Miami. They stranded 12 of them yesterday and stranded 8 on Wednesday. Today, they've stranded 4, but been largely shut down. First pitch to Tyler Gordon. Shows bunt, pulls it back, and takes a strike. Gorski with a pretty big secondary lead, and White pump fakes over to second, but does not throw. Gordon has reached base twice, but is hitless. Fielder's choice and a hit by pitch his last time on a pitch that bounced way up on him. Step off and throw over to second from Bergman. Has picked a man off at second already in this game. That was Zach McDonald in the first. Nothing in one. Pitch to Gordon. On the way. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Bergman still pumping in that fastball, and he's got Gordon right where he wants him. No balls, two strikes. Here's the pitch. Swinging a soft grounder, first base side. Past the diving effort from Wagner. Over to Makowitz. Throws to his covering pitcher, and it's in time. Right side of the infield. Figured it out for the Rockets, and that ends the inning. So Miami gets the leadoff man aboard. Unable to score, though, in the 7th. Down to their final 6 outs of their season, trailing by 7 runs. 8-1 Rockets onto the 8th. You're listening to Miami Baseball at the MAC Tournament on Red Hawk Radio. Top of the 8th inning here from Avon, Ohio, in Crusher Stadium at the MAC Tournament in 2024. Elimination game. Toledo leads Miami 8-1 as Lucas Galdoni returns to the bump after throwing a perfect inning in relief in the 7th, the first 1-2-3 inning the RedHawks have had in the field all game. Charlie Shulvin at the plate for the Rockets. Delivered what is the winning swing as of right now for Toledo, a 2 RBI single in the first. It was a 3-1 game after 1 inning. That was the last time Miami scored. Rockets have since added 5 more. Right on right for Galdoni. And the grad student lifts his knee and fires home. A check swing, strike in there anyways, 0-1. Shulvin 2 for 4 today with that aforementioned 2 RBI single, a single as well in the 6th. Oh, 1 pitch on the way. That bounces in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Galdoni so far has thrown 3 innings in this tournament. He has struck out 5 batters and has not allowed a base runner. One and one on Shulvin. Kick and pitch. And that is lined into left field, and that'll drop for a base hit. Third hit of the day for Shulvin. And the first one Lucas Galdoni's allowed this week. Leadoff man aboard in the 8th for Toledo as Trey Wright will come up to the plate. Trey Wright up. And the first pitch is delayed by a throw over for ball 1. Toledo, the number 6 seed, after losing their opening game, upsetting 5 seed Kent State. As the first pitch comes in, strike 1 in there, 0-1 on Wright. Runner on first and nobody out in the top of the 8th with the Rockets up 8-1. Not necessarily a huge upset with just 1 seed line above them, but Kent State was the pretty heavy preseason favorite, receiving 8 out of 11 first place votes to win the league this year. 0-1. Breaking ball down, 1 ball, 1 strike. Kent State could really swing it, but the Golden Flashes went 2 and out in this tournament. 1-1, runner goes, and it's hit on the ground over towards second. Quick flip to second for 1 is not in time. Throw to first is. See if Miami elects to challenge this. Umpires immediately all look to the Miami dugout if they want to challenge the call at second. It was a pretty good job by Gordon to get rid of it quickly, but it does not look like the RedHawks will challenge the call. Got rid of it quick right next to second, but it was a close play over there, and Chauvin beat it out with the hit and run on. And so Wright is thrown out. Owen Jackson now at the plate. First pitch coming home. In for a strike, 0-1. Runner on second, and 1 gone in the top of the 8th. The Rockets hang on to this. They will play Ball State coming up next here in Avon. 0-1 pitch to Jackson on the way. Lifts it up in the air, left side, tailing away and foul. Toledo finished in the regular season right where the head coaches thought, 6th in the MAC coaches preseason poll. No balls, 2 strikes on Jackson the pitch, and he lines it into right field, but Gordon is back there shifted. It one-hops him, and he throws on to first for the out. Gordon has been busy shifting often back into right center field from second base and has made a lot of plays there today. Runner moved up to third, so Chauvin 90 feet away, but 2 down in the top of the 8th inning now for J.P. Wagner. And Kent State got 8 of the 11 first place votes and then 8 votes to win the tournament as well. Interestingly, as the first pitch comes into Wagner, it's a strike, 0-1. Ball State was picked second with all 3 of the remaining first place votes. Ball State, though, only got 1 vote to win the tournament. Western Michigan, who picked up no regular season first place votes and finished 4th in the preseason poll, got 2 as the 0-1 is fouled back. And it's no balls and 2 strikes, and those who picked them might be right. Western had a great year, finished 2nd in the MAC, and are in the winner's bracket right now after taking down Ball State yesterday. They'll take on the top seed Bowling Green Falcons tonight. 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Wagner cuts through it, and that retires the side in the top of the 8th. So the leadoff man reaches on the single from Chauvin, but Lucas Galdoni works past it with no problem. Scoreless top of the 8th. 8-1 Rockets our score, headed to the bottom half. Miami running out of time. You're listening to Miami Baseball at the MAC Tournament on RedHawk Radio. Bottom 8, RedHawks down 7, 8-1 our score, and Jackson Bergman, the Rocket starter, is still out there. We've already seen one complete game thrown in this tournament. It happened on the opening day with Merritt Beaker of Ball State throwing it against these Toledo Rockets, now looking for one of their own. Dylan Baker leads off. First pitch to him, sweeps wide for ball 1. So as this game comes to a close, it may close the book on the RedHawks season as well as the 1-0 comes in. And Baker checks his swing, but he did go around. It's 1-1. Take a look back at the preseason poll as we were talking about in the top half of this inning. 1-1 on Baker, in. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Could say the two biggest surprises were Bowling Green and Central Michigan. Chippewas, who did lose their head coach to Cincinnati, but still retain some of that roster pick to finish third. They've been regular near the top of the MAC. 1-2. Baker hits it on the ground over toward short. Backhand field deep in the hole by Chauvin. Sets his feet and throws on to first. And he beats Baker for the out. One gone in an 8-1 game. And Zach McDonald will come up for what's maybe his final collegiate at-bat, as he is 1 for 3. Central Michigan ended up finishing last in the MAC in the regular season. A very disappointing year for the Chippewas. And Bowling Green, who was picked to finish 8th, came out of nowhere to not only win the league but dominate it. First pitch in is a strike to McDonald, 0-1. Miami was picked to finish 7th. It was kind of a log jam in the middle of the pack. Just 2 votes separated 5th and 7th place, 0-1. Check swing, and he goes around, strike 2. RedHawks finished 4th, so exceeding expectations a bit. Picked up 1 win here in Avon, 0-2. And McDonald bounces it towards third. It's fielded way back by right, throws a long way onto first. It's picked out in time. Second out of the inning, and a long throw that beats out McDonald for the out. Umpiring crew is going to meet here. As McDonald is hanging around over there, and they are going to review this. So did look like in real time that McDonald was out, but they'll check just to make sure. You know, Brian Smiley did say that, you know, this team didn't come here just to be happy with a 4th place finish, and you don't expect them to think that either. But I think fans of the program and people that have followed this are pretty happy with how things have turned out in year 1 under Coach Smiley, and there's certainly a very plausible upward trajectory that this program can have over the next couple of years. But even to be this successful in year 1, I think is a rousing success, as many would agree. And we already talked about a little bit earlier on in the game, the amount of returners that the RedHawks have the potential to get for next year, and that obviously presents some exciting prospects, as they will surely add some more pieces as well. Call on the field was out at first base for McDonald. Umpire is currently over looking at it out at the left field replay center. Tournament will be here for the next couple years into the future as well, as extension was signed just prior to this season, back in the summer last year. After a brief hiatus, tournament spent 8 seasons here. Then around the pandemic, the Mid-American Conference announced it would actually be eliminating conference tournaments altogether for a number of sports, and baseball was one of them. And then they decided that they would do a MAC tournament, but it would be a 4-team tournament hosted by the top seed. Umpire crew comes back, and the call is upheld. And McDonald is retired. So there are 2 outs with nobody on. In the bottom of the 8th, RedHawks down 7 still. And the batter will be Ty Bonisic, who's 1 for 3. But a cool event to come back here to Avon Lake, where this tournament has been, and kind of feels like the rightful home of this tournament. Fan base has traveled pretty well this weekend, and this weekend is far from done, even though this might be the end of the RedHawks road. First pitch to Ty Bodicic is in for a strike, 0-1. Transfer portal's already starting to get active for Miami. If you follow recruiting at all and what Coach Smiley's done there, 0-1. Bodicic hops it over towards second. Diving play by Makowitz to stop. Back to his feet. Throw to first in time. Infield putting on a show in this 8th inning for Toledo. It's a 1-2-3 off 3 groundouts and not a single one easy. The Rockets make every play. We go to the 9th here from Avon. It's Toledo 8 and Miami 1. You're listening to the MAC Tournament Miami Baseball on Red Hawk Radio. Here we are in the 9th inning here from Avon as Toledo leads Miami 8-1. The Rockets, for the second straight game, playing with it all on the line, and Toledo has come out to play once again. The Rockets putting up 8 runs for a second straight game. Scott Makowitz leads off against Lucas Galdoni. First pitch, flown up in the air, foul. 0-1. Makowitz today 1 for 2 with 2 walks. Galdoni has allowed just 1 base runner through 2 innings. Next pitch in is up high for ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Appreciate, by the way, shout out to Miami Athletics and all the help they've given us not only this weekend but all year. But they were integral in getting us here this weekend. 1-1, swung on and missed. Can sometimes be admittedly difficult as a smaller school and a smaller station to get on the road to stuff like this and cover multi-day events, but athletics was very helpful in assisting with what we needed to get us here. 1-2 to Makowitz, outside 2-2. And this will likely be our last, if this score line holds, broadcast of the year on Red Hawk Radio. We'll be back for football season coming up in the fall. Miami and Northwestern week 1 from the new Lakeside facility. Temporary stadium. 2-2, cut on and missed, strike 3 by Makowitz. And Galdoni's got 1 down in the 9th. To the bottom of the order, Braden White up to the plate. Base is clear, 1 out in the top of the 9th inning with the Rockets up 8-1. White is 1 for 4 with a single and an RBI ground out. But of course, we appreciate all the help. We have great relationship with the folks in Miami Athletics here at Red Hawk Radio. The first pitch is into White. It's in for a strike, and they are very helpful in just getting us everything that we need to cover all these events. Did every home game this year for football, men's and women's basketball, hockey, baseball. Did some road events as well. Continue to expand our coverage year over year. 0-1 to White, and he lines it into right field for a base hit. That'll turn the lineup over for the Rockets. Runner on first with 1 out for Caden Konzak. Rockets still up 7 in the 9th. Konzak is 1 for 5. Of course, to our group of listeners, we've had some of the better listening numbers that we've had in a while this year. They've continued to grow year over year, and that, of course, is great for us, and we appreciate everyone for tuning in all season. Everyone who reached out and supported us all year. First pitch to Caden Konzak is punched in the air, opposite field, flown out to left. Gorski is camped, tiptoeing ahead towards the infield, does make the catch for the second out, as the runner will retreat to first. We owe a very special thank you to the folks in Miami Athletic Communications who we work with most directly. Great SIDs. Lamar Connard, who's here this weekend. Also the men's basketball SID and volleyball SID for the RedHawks. Of course, Dave Meyer. The football and women's basketball SID, assistant director for communications. Garrett Pike up to the plate, hits this on the ground, and the throw on to first from Gordon from second base is in time, and we will go to the bottom of the ninth. Rockets strand one, and Miami will have one final chance at it, down 7, as the RedHawks will bring up the middle of the order, Apowick, Novak, and Gorski when we return. Bottom of the ninth coming up. Miami down 8-1 against the Toledo Rockets in this elimination game. You're listening to the MAC Tournament, Miami Baseball on Red Hawk Radio. Bottom of the ninth inning here from Avon. Miami down 8-1 to the Toledo Rockets. The last chance for the RedHawks here in this elimination game with their season hanging in the balance. Evan Apowick will lead off. Jackson Bergman going for the complete game. Deals a first pitch strike in on Apowick, and it's 0-1. Apowick today 1 for 3. Wrapped up that last inning a little prematurely. Was going through some people that we had to thank as Apowick flies the 0-1 out into center field. Catch made by Pike for the first out. And the batter will be David Novak with bases empty and one down. Shouted out Dave Meyer, Lamar Connard. Of course, have to shout out Tim Carey, the great Miami hockey SID. Just the whole communication staff, all the student communication interns. Everybody has just been so incredibly helpful to us all season, and couldn't do what we do without them. First pitch to David Novak. He rolls it on the ground foul, third base side. We will be back in the fall. Week 1 football comes your way from Evanston, Illinois, as the RedHawks take on the Northwestern Wildcats. So 1 high and away, 1 ball, 1 strike. And keep an eye out with the success of the football team this year. Expect some expanded coverage on that football team next season. Highly anticipated season. 1-1 by Novak, popped in the air. This will barely get into the outfield, and it'll bloop in for a base hit. Looked like off the bat, Wagner might have a chance on it from first, but it floated over his head, and Novak's got his first hit of the game. 1 for 2 now with Justin Gorski coming to the plate. Runner on first, 1 out with the RedHawks down 8-1, bottom of the ninth inning. First pitch to Justin Gorski is in for a strike. Of course, we also thank Lindsey Sparks, David Saylor, Miami Director of Athletics. 0-1 pitch to Gorski, just beneath the zone, ball 1. Miami legend Steve Baker, longtime voice of the RedHawks, who will still be on the air for Miami next season, but is stepping away from his full-time role with the athletic department. Downstairs on the next pitch, it's 2-1. Can still catch him on the radio, the Miami Radio Network, and on the all the ESPN Plus games, but is no longer going to serve as director of broadcasting. Congrats on the retirement, Bake. 2-1. Punch down into left field, and the catch made by Walton for the second out. Congrats on retirement to a Miami legend. Have to check on what's happening here. Actually, it looks like they called a balk. So they just said no pitch because they sent Novak to second base, and Gorski's back at the plate. So I believe a balk was just called on Bergman. So now the runner up to second. 2-1, in for a strike, 2-2. So no pitch there, and Gorski's back at the plate. Runner on second, 1 out with the RedHawks down 7 in the bottom of the ninth. Freshman Justin Gorski at the plate. 2-2 pitch. Swinging a little nubber in front of the mound. It is off the foot of Gorski, so it's a foul ball. I have to also thank some of the great head coaches and members of the coaching staff at Miami that have talked to us over the course of this year. 2-2. Outside, ball 3. Whether in press conferences or interviews, whatever it may be, Chuck Martin, Glenn Box, Coach Smiley, Travis Steele, Chris Bergeron was great to us as well in his tenure. 3-2 is fouled back into the screen. Anthony Norrie, new head coach of the Miami hockey program. Our preseason basketball interview with Jonathan Holmes was one of our favorite pieces we did all year. 3-2, bounces in, ball 4, and Gorski's aboard with his third free pass. 0 for 1, but 2 walks and a strikeout. They're on first and second with 1 out. And the batter will be Rylan Zaborowski. And now we'll get a visit out to the mound from the Rockets. There was throwing in the bullpen in the last inning. It stopped. It is now going to restart. But don't believe anyone's hot out there right now, so Bergman will probably stay in the game, at least for the moment, as he continues to try and go after that complete game. It's a very exciting time here for Miami Athletics. Feels like a lot of good things are on the horizon. Got some great moments this year as well. Baseball team had some walk-off wins. Got to cover some softball games this year, and probably the best year in program history for that team. Numerous Darwishi Hunter buzzer beaters for the men's basketball team, and more could be said about the football season this year. First pitch to Rylan Zaborowski is over his head and gets away. It'll get to the backstop, and both runners will move. Up to second and third now with 1 out as it's 8-1 Rockets. Zaborowski with a chance to bring in some RBIs with 1 out in the bottom of the ninth. Our first broadcast this year was way back in September at Nippert Stadium, and who knew what was going to happen that night. 1-0 lifted out to right center field. That's going to drop. Base hit for Zaborowski. Run will score. Runners were frozen on contact as they weren't sure if that would be caught or not, but one does score. Gorski moves up to third. That's the second hit of the inning for the RedHawks, and they're on the corners with 1 out in the bottom of the ninth as Miami has made it an 8-2 ball game. Ryan Novak will come to the plate for the RedHawks as Miami will continue to try and chip away. Don't have much time left, but got their first run here in the ninth since the first inning. Bergman's first pitch to Novak is a fastball strike over the plate, 0-1. A 1 pitch to Novak on the way, and it's outside, a ball and a strike. Super excited next year with the schedule for the RedHawks. We'll be covering every non-conference game for Miami football. Road games, some exciting venues. both old and new. 1-1. Novak flies it foul. They'll play in maybe the most unique and the most new, because it's a temporary stadium in college football at Northwestern. And they will also play in one of the most hallowed venues at Notre Dame later on. 1-2. This is flown out to left. This sends Walton back, and it's over his head. Run comes in to score. Zaborowski up to third, and Novak pulls into second safely, and Miami's showing some life here. As we're talking about other things, RedHawks have second and third, and one out as another run comes in to score, and it's now 8-3. Tying run in the hole, and this is going to bring a pitching change for the Rockets. Jackson Bergman was phenomenal in this game. He goes 8 1/3 innings, tried as hard as he could for that complete game, but unfortunately it's just going to be short. Still doesn't take away for the job that he did today, as the Rockets will go to the bullpen for the first time. We'll take one final break here from Avon. Miami threatening a little bit, down 8-3 in the bottom of the ninth. Second and third, one out, as a new pitcher takes the ball for the first time all game for the Rockets. Back after this, you're listening to Miami Baseball at the MAC Tournament on Red Hawk Radio. Bottom of the ninth inning, and Toledo makes their first pitching change. Kyle Plajasic takes over in relief of Jackson Bergman. He goes 8 1/3 innings in the start, gave up 8 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and 3 runs. It's 8-3 Toledo right now. Bergman responsible for runners on second and third, one out. Tying run is in the hole for Miami. Still will take some effort, but got a shot. Tyler Gordon's at the plate. First pitch through, and he cuts over it for strike one. Gordon will stand back in. Right on left here. Majasic out of the stretch, 0-1. And that is sprayed over towards short. Run will come in to score, but it's scooped up and thrown to first by Shulvin for the out. It's now 8-4. Novak stays on second base, but Gordon is retired, and Miami's down to their final out, going back to the top of the order. Dylan Baker at the plate for the RedHawks. He's 1 for 4. Singled and scored the RedHawks' first run. That was their only run until this inning, back in the first. First pitch on the way, and he pops it up. Right side, carrying into the shallow outfield and right. Makowitz over from second. He makes the catch, and that is your ball game. Toledo, for the second straight day, plays an elimination game and picks up a victory off the back of 8 runs and a strong 8 1/3 in the start from Jackson Bergman, who comes on in the start and went all the way through, saving the Rocket bullpen until the 9th inning when the Rockets brought in Kyle Plajasic. Plajasic only needed to throw 2 pitches to get out of the game for the Rockets, and they pick up the win over the RedHawks. And with that, the season comes to an end for Miami as they fall to 27-27. That's their final record in year one under first-year head coach Brian Smiley. And the Rockets improved to 27-31. Their season will continue at least until this afternoon when they will play their third elimination game of the MAC tournament as they take on the Ball State Cardinals. So that will also wrap things up here for us at Red Hawk Radio this season. For the rest of our great broadcast team, all of our student broadcasters, everyone back at the station, and everyone that's advised and helped out and supported us all season long, we appreciate each and every single one of you for all the support. Cannot wait to see you back in the fall for Miami football as the RedHawks will open the season at Northwestern, and we will talk to you then. So until then, for the rest of our great Red Hawk Radio team, First Class, I'm Luke Poley saying so long from Avon on this Friday afternoon. Miami falls to Toledo by a final score of 8-4. Thank you for tuning into this presentation of Miami baseball on Red Hawk Radio, and we'll see you coming up this fall.